So speaking of iOS 9, today is the special day, that very special day in fall. The leaves start changing. We bring out our winter coats, and we download the newest operating system on our iPhones. iOS 9 is officially available to download today. But should you? Joining us to help answer this question is Rene Ritchie, Editor-in-Chief at iMore. Welcome, Rene.
Hi, Megan. How are you?
I am doing well. So before the show, you told me that your update came precisely at 1 p.m. Eastern, as it was supposed to, and you've downloaded it. How is it?
I'm in the process of downloading it. There seems to be a massive amount of people hitting that server, so it could take a while.
So do you recommend people download right now or wait?
I mean, the people listening to this show are going to want to download right away because we're geeks and techies, and that's all we do. But for normal people, for citizens, you just wait till it's tonight, till it's convenient. Wait a couple days if you want to. There's no rush. It'll be the same great update whenever you do it.
Rene, my download kind of crapped out too, so I think we're hitting the same server there. But this free upgrade is available for all iOS devices, I think going all the way back to the iPhone 4S and the iPad 2. Those devices, compared to the newer ones, don't have as much memory and they have slower processors. So do you think the iOS 9 software upgrade is going to work well on these older devices?
Yeah, that's been the cause for some concern in years past, and Apple's made a concerted effort to try to rectify that. First, they're being much more aggressive in downscaling features. So if you have an older device, you don't get all of the features that you get with the new one, but it also means you don't take the massive performance hit. And they've also done everything. They've slimmed down the update now. It's only 1 gigabyte as opposed to 4-point-something gigabytes last time. And they're doing all sorts of binary slimming on their end. They're removing assets for devices that you don't need. Like if you have an iPhone 4S, you don't need the iPad Pro interface on that device. So they're getting rid of all of that. They're doing on-demand resources now. So I tried the beta on my iPhone 4S, and I don't like to judge on betas. It was fine. I want to install the real version and see, but so far it's looking much better.
So we've been talking about all of the new features for a while. I know you've downloaded all the betas, and a lot of people have. This is the first time that the public was allowed to download. Is there anything different in the real version that you know of? I know you haven't gotten it yet, but is there anything that we're going to see different that you know of?
No, well, some people are saying that they're actually getting an update notice from the GM, the Golden Master candidate, that's around 42 megabytes. So there might be a few small differences, and Apple can tweak things up until the last minute. But it'll generally be the same. If you've experienced it on the beta, you know what you're getting at this point.
So Rene, over at iMore, you guys put together a massive, I think it's like 21,000 words, but you can correct me, a review of iOS 9 based on the beta. Can you sum that up in 10 words or less?
Absolutely. Polished and better. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we're getting now is based on the technologies that they went through some pain to give us in iOS 7 and iOS 8. Everything from auto layout and size classes to continuity and extensibility. Those were sort of the foundational blocks they had to dig everything up to lay. And now they're just doing great things with it. I launched an Overcast, which is an app by Marco Arment, and I told Siri to remind me about an episode of Security Now. Then I went back and listened to 2 other shows, went to reminders, took me right back to Security Now. And Marco didn't have to add that. That was just because he'd added continuity to support, and the same indexing works for backlinks and reminders. So we're getting the benefit of all this technology sort of being surfaced in these great new features.
So what about watchOS? That was supposed to come out today too, but now it's delayed because of a bug?
Yeah, so I mean, this is not unprecedented. Last year, there were some issues, I think, with signing certificates on extensions and some stuff with HealthKit. So basically what happened is, as far as I know, this is nothing that faces customers. So if you have the Gold Master, I almost called it the Grandmaster. If you have the Gold Master on your Apple Watch, you have nothing to worry about. Apple is just taking some time to fix a few things on their end, and then they're going to push it out again as soon as they can.
So what are you most excited about with the watchOS?
With watchOS, it sort of makes me complete. Like the apps are native now. You can have custom complications. The time travel doesn't just work on one face; it works on all the faces. It's everything that we sort of got hinted at, like the more personalization. You can have photos and photo albums and live photos as your clock face. So it's a bunch of really neat things. The thing I like the best, though, is that they have this new thing called watch connectivity. And that means if you've connected to a network and to a service, and then you go out jogging without your phone, maybe you jog into Starbucks, you can still get your messages, you can still get your sports scores because the watch remembers how to connect to those services. So it's growing up, Megan. It's about a toddler or a kid now. It's amazing.
Rene, you mentioned that this kind of software delay isn't quite unprecedented, but it is pretty rare for Apple to actually announce a date for something, software in this case, and then not meet it. My thought is, and I worked for a software quality assurance department for about 10 years. My thought is they're doing the right thing by holding things up. And I think some people might disagree, but I'm curious about your opinion, even though we don't know the scope or the size of the bug.
Yeah, so like I mentioned last year it shipped, and then there were some problems installing some apps because of extensions, or HealthKit apps had to be delayed by a week to get something fixed. And there's a lot of confusion around that. Nobody knows the state of what their update is in. And I think you're absolutely right. This is the better call. I mean, thank goodness we're not in the age of printing discs or CDs anymore. We can actually, it's just bits that we have to stop. But I would prefer this every time, because, you work at Xena, you see the same thing that I do. When something does go wrong, it's just panic and mayhem. And it's much better to have a little bit of disappointment than a lot of confusion.
Well, we will be looking forward to it, especially for you. And I'm going to use that line you used. Rene Ritchie, WatchOS 2, it completes me, I think, is a beautiful piece of poetry that I
The watch faces match the new bands, Megan. They thought of everything. There's like ivory white and violet and something like stone rose. I mean, it's nuts.
Well, speaking of rose, are you going to get a new Apple Watch when they come out?
I think you can get the rose gold and the gold one already. The Hermes ones are still coming, but I have two. I don't know how many I can buy, Megan. They might lock me up at some point.
Yeah, you probably should stop buying bands.
I'll let Georgia buy the rose gold one. That seems fair.
That does seem fair. And you can buy me the Hermes band. And then
okay, perfect. Okay, done. Great. You solved everything.
Well, Rene, thank you so much. Rene Ritchie is editor-in-chief at imore.com and host of Mac Break Weekly, and at Rene Ritchie on Twitter. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.